Hi Falcons! Thank you for watching another episode of Distance Learning with Coach 2. In this episode or tutorial, we're going to be going over Chapter 8.3.1, writing equations for multiplying and dividing. I hope you guys have your notebook and pencil ready because we're going to get started right away. Alright, let's go ahead and get started by reading the chapter intro together. I read the blue and you read the black. Just kidding. I'll read all of it for you guys. Chapter 8.3.1, how can I write an equation? Writing multiplication equations. The first two sections of this chapter involve data. In this section, you will focus on equations. In lesson 7.3.4, you begin solving equations that contain addition or subtraction, such as x plus 18 equals 25. You solve these equations using several informal strategies. You also learn how to solve them by undoing with inverse operation. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of multiplication is division. That is what they mean by inverse operation. In this section, you will look at another group of equations. This group of equations contains multiplication or division. In this section, you will explore how to solve these equations, starting with writing and solving equations in the form of ax equals b. Alright, so I want to go over 8-84 with you. We're going to use this as our foundation problem. So everything we do here, you want to do the same with the other problems. Okay, so let's start off by reading. Margaret is trying to enlarge some diagrams to make several posters for a presentation. She decided on a multiplier of 5 to make the diagrams easier to read from far away. Margaret wonders how much she can enlarge each diagram so that it is the largest it can be, still fitting on the poster paper. The poster paper is 36 inches wide. So let's start with letter A. Margaret started answering her question by making the table I write. She realized that her table would need too many rows before she would find her answer. Help Margaret by writing an expression that represents the width of the enlarged diagram if her original diagram is r inches. So let's look at the chart over here. So she used a multiplier of 5. That means each thing is increased by 5 or 5 times the size. So the relationship between the original to the enlarged is 5 times the size. So in our expression, it would be 1 times 5 and so on. So every number after that would be times 5 if she continued with the chart. Expression for part A would be r times 5, but the correct way of writing this is actually 5r, and that is our expression. Moving on to part B, write and solve an equation to determine the widest diagram that Margaret can use and have it still fit the poster paper if she positions the paper so that it is 36 inches wide. Answer with both a fraction and a decimal. Be sure to explain how you solved your equation. So, just like everything else, it's connected to the previous problem. So in the previous problem, letter A, we wrote 5r as our expression. Now we need to do an equation. So the whole thing will equal to 36 inches. So in the intro, it said to use inverse operation or quote-unquote undoing the operation. So in this case, 5r means 5 times r. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to do it as a fraction just like they suggested so that I get my fraction. So that's 5. R equals 2. I will let you do that on your own because I know you can. So go ahead and pause the video and solve what R is. And don't forget that you need to write your answer as a decimal as well. All right, we are now on the last part, which is part C. Using another equation, what is the longest diagram that Margaret can use and still fit the poster paper if she positions the paper so that it is 48 inches wide. So right here. So I'm going to use the same equation because it's the same idea. So 5r equals to 48. And the same thing, divide by 5, divide by 5. I should have said this earlier, but this is an improper fraction, so you want your answer as a mixed number. And then you need to remember that you need to explain how you know or why your answer works. So again, go ahead and pause the video and do some math. Alright, before I let you work on it on your own, I do want to do a one-step division equation example with you. It is similar to the multiplication where again we have to undo the operation. So in this case, a fraction is a division. So to undo fractions, we need to multiply because the opposite of dividing is multiplying. But back in chapter 7, when we divided, we had to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to use that idea over here as well. So 7 over 2 is the reciprocal. And then whatever you do on one side of the equation, you want to do the same thing on the other side. So this cross cancels, and then this cross cancels over here, which means I am left with m equals to 77 out of 2. Again, this is an improper fraction, so you want to turn it into a mixed number. So this will definitely help you out in one of the problems that has been assigned to you. Go ahead and get started. Thank you for watching another episode of Distance Learning with Coach 2. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Stay tuned for the next one. And don't forget to subscribe somewhere on the bottom.